The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated. Reproduction or dissemination, other than for the purpose of education or information without the express written permission of the Phoenix Research Institute or Nova Society Media, is strictly prohibited.
So I'd like to welcome everyone back to the Nova Society. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, and I'm here with the panel, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Mark Bound. And today we're going to do something with fun and some sparkle. The two gentlemen are going to talk about the Mets, and I will do my best to stagger along behind. And so I will ask some questions if I'm able. So, gentlemen, take it away. What do we expect from the Mets this year?
Hard to tell. Hard to tell. 3-3. As we're recording this, they are 3-3. They seem to have been doing. They're almost anemic when it comes to offense.
Well, their batting average is like under the Mendoza line. Right?
I mean, it's like, they're, or as Keith Hernandez would say, they're on the interstate.
What's the Mendoza line?
The Mendoza line is a batting average thing, but they're the interstate, I guess, would be they're on I-88. They're batting 188.
Well,
under 200 is the Mendoza line. So I guess they're both.
Yes.
Yeah, it's troubling stuff. They're not hitting at all, and they're certainly not hitting timely. And it was great. We were watching Pete hit that home run the other day, the grand slam to tie the game. Was terrific. And I think, look, you know what the bigger thing is? Can they get some of those bats, those torpedo bats? That's what we need. And in case anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, the New York Yankees hired an MIT professor to design new bats for their players, for their hitters, that based on research on where they normally hit the ball on the bat to foul it off, put the good wood of the bat there at that spot, and all of a sudden a foul ball becomes a hit. I think it's great for the game. It may kill an infielder or a pitcher, but I guess we could live with that because the ball really comes off hard off the bat. What a great use of science and technology to create these bats in a way that is, that the individual hitter has their proclivities accentuated rather than tried to mitigate it.
Yeah, and the bat is legal.
I was just going to ask that. Is that not cheating?
It is legal.
Okay.
It's one of those things. Maybe I heard that Lindor tried to use one in the first game, the first set of games that they played. I'm not sure. They were trying to really go back and look at the footage and see if he was. At this point in time, anything. Try something. What Lindor? Lindor is hitting what? I don't even know what Lindor is hitting. He's like what 1 for 28. It's just anemic, and
Lindor has been a slow starter his career, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, last year he was. Right now, Francisco Lindor at $350 million is hitting 100. Juan Soto and his almost $750 million is hitting 238. I mean, Alonso, respectable 286. Okay. That right. 2 home runs. We're happy with him. Nimmo,
Pete's playing for a contract, So
Pete's he's playing for a contract. Nimmo's hitting 250. I see they're putting Marte in today as the DH. He's hitting 286. Vientos, oh my gosh, he's below the interstate. He's at .083. That's just not good. But I think the big surprise has been Torrens at catcher.
Oh, it's great.
He is absolutely. I'll tell you something. When the guy, the kid that they've got that they want to have in there, what's his name?
Alvarez.
Alvarez comes back. I say he has to really try to earn that spot because Torrens, he's hitting 313, and he is a machine at throwing people out, of which Alvarez is not. Alvarez cannot throw people out like he can. So, yeah, that's just the hitting side of it. But let's look at the bright side. We're not the Atlanta Braves at 0-7. we're at least we're not them. But pitching, I'm sorry, starting pitching hasn't been bad. Relief pitching, other than Danny Young, and they should never put him out there ever again because he's been awful. I mean, you're up 10-2, and you have to get your closer up because he might lose it. He still needs to get one out. I mean, come on, he's just not cutting it. So it's early in the season, 6 games. We'll see. They're home today. They're back for 6 games. They've got to beat up on people like the Marlins, which they've got 3 games coming up. 2 out of 3 is nice, but they really do have to start beating on these second tier teams. And tonight's Blue Jays. Blue Jays are, I believe, in first place in the American League East, so they're playing better ball. And it's early season, but every time I look at the standings, I say, "Oh, we could be the Braves."
So, I actually saw somebody. Where was it? I think it was on Reddit. There's a New York Mets page on Reddit. And somebody was saying, okay, can we just admit that this season we're going nowhere? Trade a bunch of the older guys away and start over again. He said it was like I think at the time they were 2-2 or something like that. And I was like, man, it's a little early to give up on the entire season at this point so far. So, by the way, the game is not tonight. It's in about an hour and a half from now. So that's something.
Well, that means we have to cut this short so that we can be watching the game on my MLB TV. Even down here in South Carolina, I can watch the Mets, except when they play the Braves, because then it's, of course, blacked out.
Right. But when they put the game on Apple TV, it really is like they'll sell us out for anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, when they play the Braves, I get to listen to Howie Rhodes, because I would just turn on the radio thing of it and just listen to him, and on iHeartRadio, which is another place you can catch the Nova Society. iHeartRadio, where we are the most popular.
Are we really?
Well, yes, that's where most of our listeners come from. They're on Spotify.
Okay. So I have a question. So I keep thinking about DeGrom. So where is he? Is he still with Texas, and he's still not playing because he's still injured?
He's playing. He had a very good outing, his first outing, very, very good outing. And the manager basically said that we're just going to set him loose, and might as well. I mean,
what does that mean? Trade him?
That they're not going to restrict him.
What does that mean?
Well, usually they'll restrict them in the number of pitches they can throw.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And now they basically said, no, we're just going to let them get out there and do it. Senga, I think they should do the same thing. Either you can stand up and take it, or you can't. And I think that's the thing that gets me most about the game today. How susceptible pitchers are to injuries. Back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and I hate to be that guy that says, oh, back in the day, when we were young, we walked uphill both ways to school in 10 foot of snow and had to beat the bear with our 3-ring binder. You hate to sound like, but it is amazing to me how injury prone pitchers are today. And I really do think that's because they focus on velocity instead of being pitchers. I think a guy like Phil Niekro could still be successful in today's game. And he was not throwing 99 miles an hour.
No, there's nothing even close to it. Yeah.
I mean, maybe high 60s, 70s or something like. But I really do think. I mean, even some of the greats, Tom Seaver, he was considered a power pitcher. I don't think he really ever got over 92, 93. Steve Carlton, lefty. These guys back in the day were considered power pitchers, but they never reached 100, 101. And I think that's why these people are getting, why these pitchers are so prone to injury. Number one, and I think it's because of the limitations on innings.
Yeah.
They asked Seaver one time. They said, "What was your limitation? What was your pitch count limit?" He goes, "I don't know, 145, something like that." I mean, they pitched into the 10th inning. Now you can't get him out of the 5th.
And that does bring up the point that I think the Mets management has decided that they're not going to focus so much on starting pitching because they only go like 5 innings anyway.
Right.
And so you need to have a good bullpen, and you need to have, try to shut down entire innings by having, a guy who's good in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. And that's really where the focus needs to be. But I do miss having an ace. I really do miss having, like, DeGrom, I guess, was the last one. A guy who was the best pitcher in baseball on the Mets. It just feels like we're the team that has to have that kind of guy, even though they never got wins, right? I mean, the Mets never scored runs for DeGrom. If my memory is correct, I don't think they scored a whole lot of runs for Doc. But you do like having that guy who could just go out there and get a win if you just got him a run or two.
Yep.
And yeah, it seems like the Mets are that kind of guy. I just noticed that there's a Jack Leiter who's DeGrom's teammate on Texas. Is that Al Leiter's kid?
You talking about Doc Martin?
Who?
No.
No.
No, Doc. He was Doc. Dwight Gooden.
Okay. Dwight Gooden. Now that name I know. And there was a Sandy Koufax. Was that a pitcher or a hitter?
It's a pitcher. It's a little ahead of our time, but
okay. So yeah.
Just Al, that Leiter. That is Al Leiter's kid.
Is it really?
How about that?
Yep. And his uncle is Mark Leiter. And his cousin is Mark Leiter Jr., all playing and have played in the Major League Baseball.
Oh, neat.
And here's the really surprise about that kid. He graduated from Vanderbilt. Not one of your not what you would call one of your really high-powered baseball programs. But yeah, he's yep.
I'll bet he doesn't have a mouthful of tobacco.
No.
Right.
And I will say this: if you see his picture, because he's only 24 years old, you could see Al Leiter. I mean, you could. I'm looking at his picture here on the thing. You could see Al Leiter. That is, he can't deny it. He is definitely Al Leiter's kid. So hopefully we'll do a little bit better. We're going to revisit this in a month. Let's see where we are after a month and see where we stand. And it's a lot more fun than talking about Trump. But every once in a while, and we do get emails asking us to talk a little bit about the Mets. We get that. Here was the one email. In fact, I was just kind of looking through because I wanted to hit this while we were talking about baseball. And how does Mark and Scott feel about extra innings, the free runner?
And what is that again?
Well, if they go to extra innings, they automatically put a man on second. It's supposed to speed up the game.
Really? I don't remember that.
No, that's new.
Oh, is it? All right. Well, that explains why I don't remember it. I remember squeeze play that Kevin explained to me what that was, and that was always very interesting for me to watch. So so explain all this to me, please.
So all right.
And to the listener.
If they're tied at the end of at the end of 9, you start the top of the 10th, and if you're batting, you get a runner. The last person to make an out goes and stands on second base. So you automatically start with nobody out and a man on second. And it's supposed to speed it up.
Which is scoring position, Brooke.
Right.
Even a single might bring that runner home. Certainly, you can move him to third base with it, one out, and then get him home from there. So it does shorten the game if that's the desire. I actually find myself enjoying the length of baseball games. I didn't have a problem with that. I didn't like the amount of time in between pitches, and they fixed that, which I think is great. But there does seem to be a tendency nowadays to over tamper with the game, and this was one of those over tamperings, I think.
I would play the 10th, 11th, and 12th the regular way. If you get to the 13th inning, then let's start the free runner rule.
Okay.
I don't know. It just seems like that's the right way to go. You played 9 the regular way, play 10, 11, and 12 the regular way, And then if you still aren't over and done with in the 13th inning, then maybe put out that free runner and start it there. Because I will say, you're not going to see very many 16, 17 inning games anymore. Where before, although it wasn't always the case, it wasn't like normal. I mean, you'd have games that go 20, 22 innings because somebody couldn't score or whatever. So it does, bring the game to an end. But like Scott, I enjoy the idea of sitting back, with a adult flavored beverage of the beer variety and watching a game and just letting the world go by. That's the beauty of baseball. There is no time limit. It's not like soccer. It's not like football. It's not like any of it. It could go on forever. And I think that's part of the enjoyment of the game. But if I was to change anything with the free run rule, it would be start it in the 13th, not in the 10th, and see where it plays out from there. So that's it. But I do also agree with you too, Scott. The idea that speeding up the pitch clock, I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it. Now, Steve Traxel, who pitched for the Mets, would never have survived with it.
That was the name I was trying to come up with. When he was on the mound, that was one boring game.
It was horrible. It was like forever. I try to go back when I played in college and in high school, and I try to think of would have it affected me as a pitcher, and I don't think it would have. I honestly don't think the pitch clock would have really mattered that much to me. I didn't work terribly fast, but I worked fast enough. So.
Well, no one's asked my opinion, but I don't like the free runner either. To me, that's kind of a manipulation. I would do whatever you're suggesting with the 13th inning, and I would let it go because I just don't. I think that's manipulation. Too much.
Brooke, what do you think? What do you think of the shift? Do you miss that?
Now you'll have to explain to me what that is. I know the term.
So the shift, they would move the shortstop or sometimes even the third baseman to the right side of the field or the left side of the field, move the second baseman over to where the shortstop is and overplay on one side based on the hitter's tendency to hit to that side. And it would mean that, it makes it that much harder to get a ball through the infield. So it usually led to an out, and very few hitters made the adjustment and hit the other way, which I think is the ultimate in bratty unsportsmanship.
And now the rule is that the second baseman has to stay on his side of second base, and the shortstop has to stay on his side of second base. So they're not able to do the shifts anymore. Personally, I like it.
So no more shift. Okay.
No more shift. Can't do the over shifts anymore.
Oh.
Now, I will say this: the shift.
I don't know.
As a knuckleball thrower back in high school and college, who always got a lot of ground balls, I would have liked the shift back then. It'd have been all right by me.
So you were a knuckleballer.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of pitcher you were, I'm sure you like the shift, right? But it's again, I mean, it's part of the game. You learn how to hit the other way. Come on.
Well, that's true. And, again, you're right, Scott. Most pitchers would like it. But there's those pitchers that, have the tendency to get flyouts and those that have a tendency to get groundouts. I don't think those that get the flyouts really cared as much and they're still able to shift the outfield. You can shift the outfield any way you want. There's no rule against that. So, yeah, and I agree. If you're a good ball player, hey, learn to hit the opposite field. If you can't do that, what the heck? Go get a torpedo bat or something.
So
I want more torpedo bats.
So then now there's no more shift, and you're saying that you think that they should have left it with the shift.
Yeah, Mark likes it gone. I would like to say to my major league ball playing friends out there that learn how to hit the other way. It can't be that hard to do, and they just never wanted to do it. So they would hit the ball into that shift all the time. It was frustrating to watch, but again, it's part of the game. So we'll have to agree. We'll agree to disagree there.
Correct. Well, all right. I think that's it for today, guys.
Yeah. Oh, that was much better than talking about what we usually talk about. So I appreciate that. And thank you to our listeners, and thank you to both of you. And we will see everyone again next time on the Nova Society.
The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing partners, Apple iTunes, the largest source of podcasts and music on the internet, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your source for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. We'd also like to thank all of our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a question or a comment, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So for Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Priscilla Hobbs, Dr. Scott Gershwer, and all of us here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power in society is knowledge. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next time.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening!